What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next, got a pretty awesome unboxing here. It's about 5 books, and there are 2 Marvel books in here I think you should probably be looking for right now, and 1 DC book that I would definitely be keeping your eyes open for. So let's get into these and see what those are. Alright, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. Again, I do really appreciate everybody that likes the videos, comments, subscribes, everything. It's great. I always appreciate the feedback, talking with people. Let's actually open the bigger box first, this one. It's actually a pretty big box for what's in here. I think there are just 4 books. There should just be 4 books. But this one, maybe there are 5. But this one has some books that I have, well, 1 book definitely that I've talked about before, some others that I haven't, but I think that there are some great, okay, that's why it's so big. It's a box inside of a box, one of those situations. So, here we go. So we got another box in here. And so there are a few books that I think are really good ones to pick up right now. And this is one of the things I actually want to talk about with respect to these types of videos that I've been putting out recently. Because when I'm buying books, I buy them for a lot of different reasons. I mean, most of the time I am purchasing a book for resale. I mean, I've said that before, so make sure that's clear. I am usually purchasing books for resale. I buy and sell comics. It's one of the things that I like to do. But there are various reasons that I might pick up a book for resale. It could be that I think the book was just way too cheap at the moment, and so I decided that was a great option to buy at that time, so I decided to pick it up. Another reason might be that I think that there's some speculation value to it. Now, I usually, when I'm buying and selling books, I like to buy and sell relatively quickly, so I'm not often waiting long term for speculation on books, but there are some that I do. And I know that people are all different in this hobby. Some people buy and sell on different timelines, some people are just collecting, and so I like to give different types of recommendations that cover, I guess, like a wide scope of collectors. And so for me, I mean, there's also books that I buy that are for collecting purposes. Not everything I'm buying is something I'm planning on selling right away. Like the stuff usually, I've said this before, when you see stuff that's back on the shelf there, those are usually books that I'm not planning on listing right away. Everything is possible that I will sell it because I could find a better copy. I could decide that that's not the book that I'm into anymore. But the ones that are on the back shelf are usually the ones that fall into that type of category. My point was that there are a lot of different reasons that I might pick up a book, and so the ones that I mention in these videos specifically are the ones that I think have some type of speculation type value, likely that they will go up more in the future or have come down unnecessarily recently. But from what you can see, I don't mention that for every book that I'm buying in here, which means I don't think that's true for every book that I pick up. Some books I just buy because I think they're a good deal. Some books I buy because, like with the Golden Age stuff, books that I think are maybe, they're just rare. And so I think that they are good books that were at a good value at that time and decided to buy them. Now, this box, let's see, yes, there are 4 books. It has 3 of these 4 that I think are pretty good books to be looking for right now. The other one is a rare Golden Age book, and I'll show that one too. But the first one, if you watched my CGC unboxing recently, you saw a copy of this. I seem to be picking up all the low grades, and this is Avengers number 4. And someone they had to say that it was 5 cents on the cover. It's like when you see stuff like that, that's what makes you really realize that these books were worth nothing at some point. When it didn't matter, they just drew directly on the cover. That's what the price was. But now, I mean, 1.5, even like this, still a very expensive book. And they they didn't just draw it once. You can see the light 5 cents like 3 different times. And they're like, no, those were too small. We need to really make sure they can see it, cover everything with the 5 cents. But yeah, I mean, it's a 1.5. It is definitely a 1.5. And this is what I talk about, where you've got different types of low grade books. This is one that doesn't really present all that well. This is one that looks like a 1.5, but it is still the first Silver Age appearance of Captain America. And the reason I think that these are pretty good to look for right now is that Captain America is one of the most well-known heroes now from Marvel, just because of how much he was used, how popular he is. And the prices on these Avengers #4 have been coming down in general. And so I think that that is a great opportunity to look for these books. We aren't going to see him again, likely, in the MCU. I mean, maybe they'll find some way to bring him back. You can always do it. But not going to see him likely again in the MCU. But it is still a major Silver Age key. And so I think anytime you see major Silver Age keys like that start to come down, that's the time to buy them. And so I have been picking these up. I think I have 4 copies now. They are low grades. I'll now have a 0.5, a 1, a 1.5, and a 1.8. So I'm covering all the low grades. But yeah, if I think that they're a good price, I'm going to buy them. And I felt like this one was a great price, so I decided to pick it up. And I think that it is the time really just to be looking for this type of book. So that's the first one. Now, the second one, you've seen me talk about this book a few times, and I've had, I think, about 4 copies now of this book, and this, I mean, it's another lower grade. You tend to find this book in lower grade, and this is Fantastic Four #3. And this is the first appearance of the Fantastic Four in their costumes, you know, in their well-known costumes. Prior to that, they're just like in basically like street clothes. And this one, though, when you saw my unboxing, I had the 2.5 that looked like an 8, just a beautiful copy. This is more what a 2.0 would, a 2.0 range book would look like. I mean, it's complete, but it's got a lot of wear on it, lots of little chips on the top. Back cover looks okay, but just general staining, wear, not as bright. This is generally what you more or less expect with a 2.0 type book, but still very expensive book. But I think that just these early Fantastic Four books, we still haven't seen a big jump in their values. Yeah, they've come up some, but I think when we eventually get the Fantastic Four, there's going to be some major jumps in these books. Now, the thing to just be aware of, it's possible, because we won't see that movie or any trailers probably for a while, that prices could come down a little just from all the hype and excitement of last year. But definitely a book that I would be keeping an eye out for. Fantastic Four #3, first appearance. Well, it's also first appearance of the Fantastic card, super important there. But the costumes is the big thing. And I really like this cover. I think it is a great early Fantastic Four cover. So that's the next one. Now, I'll jump over to the Golden Age book. And this is one I have been looking for to pick up for a while. It's just, I haven't been able to find a copy at the price I was hoping to get, and finally I felt like this one was. And this is a book that is part of the Seduction of the Innocent. Now, it's not specifically referenced on the label, but it's been the content is referenced in the Seduction of the Innocent. This is Rangers Comics #38, and it's this hanging cover. That's why it's part of that Seduction of the Innocent. They're these cowboys or whatever hanging this woman from the horse, and then they're trying to make the horse run off so that obviously she is going to be hung. But it's a really nice presenting copy, a 5.5. That is a nice copy for 1947. You can see it's got a light crease up the middle. Is it possible that could be improved and maybe get a better grade? Maybe. I mean, that would be a pretty big risk, I think, to resubmit this book. A 5.5 with a subscription crease, a 5.5 is like as good as you're gonna get. And so if that can't be cleared out, it's possible this gets resubmitted and it comes back like a 5.0. And then I would be annoyed that you spend the time and money and everything getting it regraded, getting it pressed, and then it's now worth less money. So probably wouldn't go for the resubmission on this one personally, but it is a possibility with this book. Not sure if it's one I'm going to keep long term, but it's just one that sometimes I just like having the books in hand. That's one of the reasons I've mentioned this before as well, why I really got into buying and selling books. When I first started getting into comics again, I just wanted to have some of the cool books that I wasn't able to afford, when I was a kid. And then I realized there's a lot of cool books out there, and I can't afford them all because I didn't win the lottery or anything like that. And so I decided a way that I could at least own them, have them, in hand some, was if I was buying and selling books. And so that's really what got me into doing it. And so I like having them, getting to see them. And it's one of the things that's also really, I feel, improved my grading, is that I see so many graded books that you really start to get an idea how they grade things. I mean, things like that really light Subpriest that's on here. That's the type of thing that you learn, that really like a 5.5 is about the max grade you're going to get. You might get a really light one, you might get a 6, but that's about it. And so those are the types of little things you learn as you see more and more books. But yeah, Golden Age, Seduction of the Innocent book, really cool. Rangers Comics, number 38. All right, now the next book here, this is the DC book that I think it is crazy that the prices on this book have been coming down, because it seems almost certain that we're getting this character, and just it's not the best cover. That's the unfortunate part for the character. There's a later issue that is better, but this is their first appearance. This is Green Lantern number 7 and a 5.5. This is the first appearance of Sinestro, and Sinestro is at least rumored to be in the upcoming Green Lantern Corps HBO Max show. Whether he's going to be the primary villain or what, he is planned, at least from what I understand, to be in that show, and this is his first appearance. Unfortunately, the reason I said this is not a great first appearance for him is that he's not on the cover. His first cover appearance is 2 issues later in Green Lantern number 9. It's a really cool orange background cover, but still, this is his first appearance. It is a tough book once you start getting outside of really low grades. It gets expensive quick, and a 5.5 is this is a nice copy. It's definitely one that we'll take a little closer look at. I mean, looks nice for a 5.5, I'll say. I'll definitely check the grader's notes. One of the things that probably sank it was that tape on interior cover. When you have just a little bit of tape on a book, it just kills the grade. Just absolutely kills the grade. They tend to treat it like a stain or something like that, and it just murders it. And I'm guessing it's probably right there. Yeah. So you can see, and this is why tape is so bad to put on a book. Over time, it basically stains or eats away at the book. And so this person thought, they're protecting the book. They had this little tear, and they're like, well, I'm going to put this piece of tape there, and that's going to keep that tear from growing, which, yeah, it probably did, but then you also, caused more damage to the book over decades. But in general, you can see, spine is really nice. There's a few little spine ticks. And then along the bottom, you've got a little crease down there in that corner, but edges are actually really, really nice for this book. And so you can see that it caused this stain here. That's probably the big issue. It's a little, I don't know if that's foxing, or it might be foxing up here. That cover, so you can see a little bit. Yeah, it's I'd say that's probably foxing along the top. But it's pretty light, pretty minor foxing. But yeah, a very nice presenting copy of this book in a 5.5. But first appearance of Sinestro, if these are coming down, which I've been seeing prices on these come down, that is the time to pick them up, because they spiked quite a bit with the rumors of him being in the show. But I've talked about this a number of times. It's once things are out of sight, out of mind with a lot of the comic collectors, they forget about the book. Then the prices come down, and then the show comes out, and they're like, oh, that character's there. I want to buy that book again, and the prices spike again. So that is the time to pay attention to that and to try to pick up these copies. And again, like I said, nice presenting copy of this. All right, so I've got one more box here, and this one has a single book in it. It is a really light box. But this one, this is from I'm definitely not trying to put this run together. There are certain issues I really like from this run, and other issues that aren't as great. This one's kind of in the middle, but it's one of those things. I said there's multiple reasons that I buy books. Sometimes it's just because I think it was a really good deal, and because it's a book that maybe I think is just a cool book, is going to have demand if I pick it up. And I think this one kind of fits into that category. I think it's a really cool book There's a lot of growing demand for these types of books, and I felt like the price was good, so I decided to pick it up. Now, there are some issues from this run that I really, really like. One that I would love to get, but it's just the price I think has kind of gotten out of reach for me, which is unfortunate. But you'll recognize the title when I show this from some other books that I've shown in the past. This is Punch Comics number 15, and so Punch Comics has one of the top pre-code horror covers that exists. Punch Comics number 12, which is this like black cover with a giant skull on it. That one is one of the most in-demand, popular covers of all time. I can't remember if it was a 2.0 or a 2.5 sold a few weeks ago for like $22,000. You know, it's like that book it's out there. I would love to own it, but I think the prices for me now are just they're out of reach. But there are some other great covers in that run. Punch Comics 11 is a really cool cover. 13 is a really cool cover. 19 is one of my favorites. Then there's a couple in the 20s that are really popular in-demand books too. But this one, there's kind of a recurring character with this guy with this like eye that melts stuff. he's on the cover of issue number 10 and a couple others as well. But this guy that melts stuff with his eye, I guess. But this one, it's got this good girl art element. You know, you've got the woman in the red dress, headlights type cover. Actually, pretty revealing dress for this era. You know, 1945. I think that is definitely a pretty revealing cover for 1945. But yeah, just another book from this run. It's not a long run, but it is a tough run. It is tough to find books from this one. Here's the back cover, and with pre-code horror, there's such an increase in demand for pre-code horror type covers, that type of content, that if I see a book that fits that criteria, that seems like it's a pretty good price, I'm gonna pick it up if I can. And this run has been getting a lot of attention because of Punch Comics number 12, because of what's happened with that book. And so the other issues by just in relation have been getting more attention too. And so this one, just, I don't know what that guy is, if he's like a monster or a zombie or what he is, but having his knife melted by Eye Guy, and then the good girl art cover, just another cool golden age book. So hope you enjoyed this video. Got some recommendations maybe for some books to look out for. I really think Green Lantern number 7, if you can find that book, good price, that is one that should be picked up now before that show comes out, because HBO does a good job with their shows. I think that one has potential to impact the value of those books if that show does well. Then we've got Fantastic Four number 3, just always going to be a cool book, especially leading up into Fantastic Four appearing in the MCU. Avengers 4, just that's a Silver Age, not quite mega key like X-Men 1 or Fantastic Four 1, that kind of thing, but it's up there. It's that next level down in major keys for the Silver Age. So the fact that I'm seeing prices come down for Avengers number 4, I have been buying that book. I would recommend that is a book that's worthwhile to pick up. So again, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. I've got more videos over here if you'd like to watch some of my other videos, and the subscription button right here. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.